So if you guys have any questions as I'm going through, please feel free to stop me and ask any questions that you have. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so mandate updates. That's, again, the training topic for today. But before we get to that, I want to talk about some of the EPIC training updates. So for those of you that don't know, there is a KPI that's new this year, and it's tracking the percentage of the members from your site that attend the EPIC training calls. So in order for you to be included in your site's attendance number, which I'm going to be reporting out to Kathy each month, you have to attend the EPIC training sessions for the month. If you're unable to attend the trainings for some reason, so if you're kicking off a job, or if you work on midnight shift, if the time doesn't work, you're still required to watch the training videos, which we're going to be posting under the EPIC training section in EPIC. And I'll show you guys where that is in just a second for those of you that don't know. So how is the attendance tracked? So again, as I had mentioned right at the beginning of the call, I'm going to be pulling an attendance list from the Skype meeting. So it will tell me who all has joined in through Skype. And then for anyone that can't join in through Skype, if you're on the road and you're just dialed in, I'm going to ask for roll call. So I'll just ask who's on the line for now. We are working on an update with the conference call provider that will hopefully ask you guys to state your name when you call in, and then we don't have to do that every time. But for now, I'm just going to be asking for the names of those that are participating through the conference call line only. So and I know that a lot of you guys are wondering for yourself, and then maybe for other members of your team, will you still be included in your site's attendance number even if you can't attend the training session? Yes, you can be. But in order to be included in your site's attendance number, you're required to do a couple of things. So you're going to have to go into EPIC and pull up the video and watch that on whenever you're able to. And you're going to need to email me to let me know that you have watched the video. So it's just going to be a simple email just letting me know that you have watched the training video in full. You will need to do that within 1 week after the training is provided. So for today's training, for anybody that can't join in, they have until next Friday to let me know that they have gone in and done the video. They've gone through the video on their own time. So the next update is regarding validation tests. So in the same exact testing section in EPIC, you are now going to have a validation test, which is going to cover just a few questions. So 3 to 5 questions is going to be pretty quick to go through, but we're going to have some questions that pertain to the content that we're delivering through the EPIC training sessions. So again, those are also to be completed within 1 week of the EPIC training session as well. And a report is going to get generated and sent out to the site managers and directors with a list of employees that haven't completed their validation tests. So for those of you that were with us when we did this a couple years ago, it's going to be the same exact thing. I'm going to show you guys now where the validation tests are going to be of my screen. So if I go into EPIC, over here under my employee menu, under the testing section, there's going to be another section in here that's called validation testing for the US and Canada. So you're just going to go through, you're going to take your test as you do any of your others. You're going to be given 10 minutes to complete it, which is more than enough time for 3 to 5 questions. So it's as simple as that. And then the training videos themselves, they're going to be right under here. So the same section that we've been posting the videos, that's where the topics, the full videos for the training topics are going to be posted. So you guys can watch those if you're not able to make the meeting for some reason. Any questions on that?
I have one question.
Yeah.
I don't. I have to send an email to who are you?
To Shauna Day.
Oh, Shauna Day. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move through the updates then. Okay, so mandate updates. So we've had some rate changes for when work is done in Canada. So for customers that we have special pricing with, or even mandated activities, we have rates that are specific to when work is done in Canada. So those are going to need to be selected when you're setting up your workbooks, when the site or managing office and the work location are both in Canada. So you'll want to select the mandate option with work in Canada in the description. So I gave a couple of examples. The first one being the 3 CPR for Windsor Assembly Plant. So if, let's say, we kick off a level 2 project and the physical work location is in the US, then the 3 CPR for Windsor Assembly Plant mandate would be selected. However, if, let's say, the FCA-WI site is creating a project and the work location is at the FCA Windsor Assembly Plant, then the 3 CPR for Windsor Assembly Plant Work in Canada mandate would get selected in that case. So same thing goes for non-mandated activities. So the other example that I gave is autoneum. So when we're working in the US, we're creating our workbooks under a US site, you'll use the US mandate. If the location is in Canada, the site's in Canada, you'll use the autoneum North America Work in Canada mandate. Are there any questions on that? Okay. The next update is regarding standard pricing. So when creating a workbook in Epic, you're no longer able to leave the mandate field blank when standard rates apply. So before, you could create a workbook, just leave the mandate field blank, and Epic would automatically apply our standard rates. So that's no longer an option. You either have to select standard pricing for Canada or standard pricing for the US. So same thing goes. If you're building your workbook under a Canadian site, the work location's in Canada, you'll use the standard pricing for Canada if standard rates apply. So for the US, if you're building your workbook under a US site, work locations in the US, you'll select the standard pricing for US mandate. So pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward, but that is a change that took place as of the first of the year. Any questions on that? Okay. So now I want to go through and actually show you what that looks like when you're setting up your workbooks. Okay, so if I go in and I go to start a brand new workbook, let's say that I am building it under, we'll use FCA-WI again, and the work location is going to be at the FCA Windsor Assembly Plant. Let's say that it's a 3 CPR project. I'm going to want to select, again, the 3 CPR for Windsor Assembly Plant Work in Canada option. However, if you are creating a workbook for a level 2, let's say, and the DETRE site is the one managing it, you would want to select just the 3 CPR for Windsor Assembly Plant. So as far as navigation goes in the system, they are going to be right next to one another. So you'll be able to see the two options if there are two options available. But that's how that's going to work. And then again, standard pricing. So I have either standard pricing for Canada as an option or the US. So pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and cancel out of there. Okay, so now I want to go through SharePoint. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and throw the PowerPoint up here so you guys can see. So this is concerning opening documents. So a lot of overwriting is taking place. People are saving things and they're not doing it intentionally. And I just want to go through why that's happening. So when you guys open up documents in SharePoint in the online mode, be careful because in the background, Office 365 is actually saving the updates that you're making to the document. So you don't actually have to click on the save icon when you're in the online mode. So that's just something to be aware of. Some of you probably didn't realize that that's what was happening. But to make sure that you're not making changes or overwriting information by mistake, open up the documents by choosing the open in and then whatever the file type is option. So for example, open in Excel. And then you're not going to be in that online mode, so the system isn't going to be automatically saving the information that you're typing into the document. So just be aware of that. Does anyone have any questions on that part? Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to go through is with regards to some of the workbooks, getting a managing office update. So let's see what I have for DETRE and active. I should have some VARMEs. Yes. Okay, so here's a great example. So this project, we have a couple of new sites in the Detroit area. So we have DETRE and DETRW. So what's happened is some of these workbooks, the managing office has actually changed, but the contract number hasn't. So in this case, VARME 0105, if I click on the contract number and if I take a look at the workbook itself, I can see right here that the managing office has changed to DETRE. However, the site naming and the contract number is still VARME. So when you go to search for timesheets, for example, so if I go to timesheets and let's say I want to go to VARME, what was that contract number, 0105. If I go in and I actually select VARME, I get no results. So the reason why is because the managing office on the actual workbook is no longer VARME. It's actually DETRE, as we saw on the workbook itself. So if I go back to my timesheet query screen and if I select DETRE instead and keep my contract number in here, if I click on go, now Epic's going to give me all of the results for that particular workbook. So the same thing applies to really anywhere that you have the managing office filter. Just be careful that if your workbook has gone under one of those changes, you're going to want to be careful when you actually select the managing office. Now, there are only a couple of sites where we've actually changed the managing office. So if you aren't aware of any of those changes, then this doesn't affect you. But for those of you where your workbooks have changed and have been updated in that way, that's how you're going to want to search for the information in Epic. Any questions on that? No? Okay. I'm going to talk about quickly, because this is another one of the parts of our training sessions, is covering some things that have come up quite often, questions, errors. So I just want to talk about timesheet approvals. So if I pull up my own contact or employee card, I should say, in Epic, if I pull that up, I currently don't have any managers listed on my employee card. So what that means is if I create timesheets in Epic, anybody can approve my time in the system. It doesn't matter if it's somebody from the GMOOS site, doesn't matter if it's somebody from the San Antonio plant in Texas, it doesn't really matter. Anybody can approve my timesheets in the system. However, once an employee's card has been updated with a manager, so I'll put Sean in here. So once I update this way, I'm now restricted, or Epic now restricts, only Sean is now able to approve my timesheet entries in the system. So if you guys have a situation, I know that there have been some site changes. We've added new sites. If you come into a situation where you're not able to approve someone's timesheets, the employee card of the employee that you're not able to approve, that's the best place to start. Because again, anyone that's listed as a manager on the employee card, they can only approve time. So we don't do this for inspectors. We don't want to narrow down the individuals that can approve inspectors' timesheets in the system. This is only for site leaders and above. But again, whoever is listed as a manager on the employee card, only those people can approve the time for that individual. Sean, did you have any errors or anything that's come up over the last couple weeks that you want to talk about?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Just the usual stuff that the timesheet one, approving timesheets. That's come up every now and then, so that'd be a good one for everybody to know. And like Shauna said, just to reiterate, we shouldn't be putting any managers in for inspectors because then that limits, and that's usually the question that comes up. And then the other thing with that is some lower level lead hands might not have access to see or change it. It'll only be available to managers.
Yep, so good point. So if you guys fall into that situation, like Sean said, if you can't see who's listed, you can't make any updates, then email Epic support and we can get everything fixed up for you. Great point. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to go through. I'm gonna now open it up to everyone that's on the call. Do you guys have questions or concerns relating to either today's topics or anything at all?
The supplier sanctioned only 30 hours. It's 20 hours we use. So 10 hours. So they are running out of the parts. I said that they can please we have more parts. Looks like you found any rejects today?
Can everyone on the phone mute, please?
How many rejects?
Rejector. Mute your phone.
Okay, so anyone on Skype, do you guys have any questions?
Hi, this is Amy. Can you show me one more time where to look at testing?
Sure. Yep, absolutely. So I'll just go back in as if I've just logged into the system. Okay. So if you go over here on the left-hand side in your left-hand navigation menu, just click on Employee Menu. And then from here, depending on if you are a US employee or a Canadian employee, you can filter quickly this way. So you can go in and, so US tests, this will bring you to all of the US tests. So to take a test, you just simply click on whichever one you want to take and then click Proceed to Test. So Epic outlines how many questions are included, the time. So for the validation test, you're going to have 10 minutes to complete that, and there are 3 to 5 questions, so more than enough time. And I will, by the way, be activating that as soon as we are done with the call today. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just had one more thing I wanted to say to everybody real quick before we go, Shauna.
Yeah.
With it being the new year and the contract numbers turning over, so everybody I'm sure has noticed that any new contracts you've written start all over at 0002. It's got the 18 for the year is within the contract number, but all our numbers are starting over again. If you're going directly into a work instruction, make sure that you're verifying the contract number before you make any changes, because you might actually be opening up a previous year's same numbered contract number. So you see, like Shauna just did for those on Skype, when she just puts in FCAWI 0002, it's going to automatically bring up the 17 one. So you just want to make sure you're using FCAWI asterisk 18 asterisk 0002. And then that gives you the proper year, the 2018 version of 0002.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up.
And that's all I've got. If anybody else? Maybe if I ask, someone will ask a question.
All right. Well, you guys know how to reach us. So like I said, I'm going to activate the validation test now, and then you guys have 1 week to complete it. Next Friday, a report's going to go out to indicate who has not completed the tests. So please go ahead and complete that today, and let your team members know as well that it's there and that they are required to watch the video if they're not on the call today. So we're going to post the video to Epic shortly as well. But thanks everyone for calling in. Have a great rest of your Friday and have a great weekend ahead. We'll talk to you all later. Thanks. Bye-bye.